Before starting any MSB product repair, there are a few crucial tips to keep in mind. When touching any circuit boards or electrical components, it is always best to touch the chassis of the product first or use an ESD-safe work surface or grounding bracelet to prevent any electrostatic discharge from harming the product. It is important to keep track of all hardware throughout the build process to prevent any loose hardware from getting left inside the unit. Also, keep in mind that there is a variety of hardware used in each product. Some products use soft nylon screws to prevent unwanted electrical connections. These screws are delicate and can cross-thread very easily. Other products have crucial heat-sensitive devices. If over-tightened, they can crack and shorten the life of the product. Pay careful attention to what type of hardware is being used and how it is being used when disassembling your product.
Begin by removing any digital inputs or blank modules from your unit. Older generations of the Premier DAC do not feature the fully integrated output card and instead utilize a modular style of clock that functions exactly like our user-swappable digital input modules. For the older generations of the Premier DAC, you can simply replace the clock exactly how you would replace a digital input module. For a detailed video on how our user-swappable modules work, a link will be provided in the description. For newer generations of the Premier DAC that feature the fully integrated output card, please follow these instructions closely. To remove the output card, flip the unit over and use a No. 1 Phillips to remove the 3 440 screws and lock washers along the jack panel. Be sure to keep track of all your hardware throughout the repair process. Flip the unit over and remove the output card by using the open portion next to the jack panel. It helps to gently use the RCA connector to lightly work the card loose while applying pressure to the back of the jack panel with your other hand. Once the output card is out of the unit, use a No. 1 Phillips to remove the 2 screws on the jack panel. Next, use a 5/8 wrench to remove the gold nut from the RCA connector. Then use a 14mm wrench to remove the silver nut from the BNC connector. Once these connectors are loose, you can separate the card from the jack panel. The silver release tab and ring around the XLR connector will get caught, but it will pull free with some added tension. It is completely normal for the ring and tab to come off of the connector. Remove the tab from the XLR connector on the replacement board. If the metal ring comes off, replace it before installing the board into the jack panel. Once the board is installed in the jack panel, you can replace the release tab by pressing it straight into the top of the connector. Using a No. 1 Phillips, replace the 2 screws on the jack panel. Use a 5/8 wrench to replace the gold nut on the RCA connector. Then use a 14mm wrench to replace the silver nut on the BNC connector. To reinstall the output card, start by guiding it into the chassis with the connectors raised and the jack panel flat to find the connectors at the back of the pocket. Once you feel the module begin to seat into the connectors, brace the chassis and apply pressure at either end of the output card at roughly the same height as the circuit board. Now use a No. 1 Phillips to reinstall the 3 440 screws and washers along the bottom of the jack panel. Flip the unit over and reinstall any blanks or digital input modules. With the clock installed and the modules replaced, you are ready to put the unit back into your system.